No, 100%. Like having a node where you can get two materials on the same node instead of individual nodes, like just having that's ridiculous. Plus, having the bonus drop of the new material to further upgrade your mods, it's just awesome. And then the introduction of materials that were being gatekeeped and hit like basically blocked from us from really farming them. Now we're able to farm. This is awesome, man.
Okay, so you just like did a really well, and this was totally coordinated and planned. You did a really well like overview of everything that was changed. Let's go through now, and I want to get your individual thoughts on all of it. So let's start with the I don't know how to pronounce this, and I haven't even read it, so maybe I should have the game pulled up. But what are they called? Attenuators? How bad? How off am I?
You know what? I don't even know the names. I just know they're the little poles. They look like the on Luke's farm on Tatooine, like they're collecting water, moisture farmers.
Let's see if someone in the chat gets this with the whatchamacallit, the actual name. But I'm gonna call them attenuators for now. Wolf says I've got it, so I'll that's good enough for me. So what do you think about them? And I guess we'll split this into two parts. Number one, calibration. Do you think it's good? Do you think it's crappy? Do you think it is the best thing that has ever happened?
For me, at first I was a little salty because I'm always a little bit salty about anything new. But just thinking about it, it makes sense for CG. This is a way that they can help new whales get better mods so that they can be competitive with some of the older players, especially like the free to play older players. So I definitely see it on their end. But as a player that doesn't really spend like that either, it's good for us to kind of like
Yeah.
use that and try to get ourselves in a better position with our mods. Because once you take it to that certain level, you were done. There ain't nothing you could do. You could have a 317 like I'm looking at that I have right now. And now I'm like, maybe I start slicing this. This could be really nasty. So I really like it. And I think it's a good aspect for pretty much everybody in the game. It doesn't really close off for any community.
No, and it doesn't. So yeah, agree with you all the way down the line. And the one thing that I was afraid of, and I think a lot of other people were afraid of, was that this was just going to be a way that heavy spenders were just going to be able to craft the perfect mod. And that's not true. There is still, just the same as mods have always been, there's still a key element of RNG. There, you can re-roll your own stat, which I would rather not have it. I think it makes it actually more complicated. And I do realize that, like, sure, you can be the big fat keyword there. You can re-roll a 3-speed into a 6-speed, but my gosh darn it, calibration's limited. Do you really want to be trying that? Because you don't get to pick which one that goes as. So yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think I would do that. But yeah, overall, I love calibration. Mods need to advance, just like everything in the game, just like relics, just like ability mats, etc. They need to have continuation. I did not want to see 7 dot mods because that completely
No.
screws with fleet. At least it has in all of history. So yeah, definitely happy they're advancing them. I'm happy that it's not it's pretty level who the advantage is for. It's not just for spenders. It's not just for free to
Can't hear you,
play.
Calvin. Okay, there you go.
Oh, you can hear me now. Okay. Um, yeah. So I think there's a lot of good things about it. I really think they hit the nail on the head. They didn't even add in an extra economy. Like they didn't add like one node that you have to farm. You just get it passively. So yeah, I feel like they've always done mods well. You know, take out the original rollout, but every single time they've advanced them, they've done really well.
No, 100%. Like I really, this is probably one of the best rollouts they ever had in anything new that they've introduced. No one's complained about it. It's pretty much been positive across the board too. They've introduced it to a place that we're like Wolf's saying in chat, we don't lose anything. All we're doing is gaining. So any point that we just gain positive things in game, it's a good change for us. So I really like it. And I'm speaking from a person that has zero RNG when it comes to these. Like I have not hit speed once,
I haven't
but
hit
I
speed either,
definitely
man. Not
I
not
could
once with the
definitely
attenuators.
no 100%, me too. And I've been doing refreshes into these nodes. Like I'm like I am not falling behind, but I could definitely see the impact, and overall in time it's going to level out and it's going to be something good for me.
Yeah, and like I said, as long as there's not some guy out there who can drop $1,000 and get a 30 speed secondary with an 8% offense on it, like That's all I'm really concerned about, because mostly at the end of the day, mods are PvP. Like, yes, they will affect PvE, especially with the new territory battle. But that's something that I can eventually apply Relic 10 to my. Well, no, I can't. I only have one Relic 9. That's not a reality. But yeah, it's mostly I'm more focused on GAC, so that's really where things come in. So all right, so attenuators we touched on, we love them. What do you think about? I mean, I really don't see how you couldn't like this, but about the gatekeeped materials for 6D to 6A being available on the nodes.
I was so happy when Conquest ended. I think I had like 200 materials. So I had been farming those basic first ones. I don't know the names of them. They're the little squares. So I've been farming those super hard. So when I got my Conquest rewards too, on top of it, I was like, man, I'm rich in Slogan right now. I can upgrade all these mods. But I'm loving it, man. I'm really liking that change. Especially for me. I'm one of those dudes that forget to do the GCs sometimes. I'm like, oh, I got 2 days. Like, I'm just going to do it when I have time. And that's the worst feeling when one of those passes, and I'm like, I just missed out on my on my mod materials. I need those. So now being able to farm those, getting those still from GCs, like we're going to be swimming in those, and our mods are really going to bump up.
Yeah, and it kind of kills the bottlenecks. So the two main bottlenecks for those were always the first piece, like you had mentioned, and then I think it's the last piece as well. Like you would get a bunch of their stuff from GCs, and they would just pile up, so you would have hundreds. And now I can actually go in and I can even the playing fields. I can make everything even. Like I was able, finally. This felt so good, even though they didn't hit speed, and that's what's important. But just to be able to go through, I had four purple six dot mods. They were just sitting there because that last piece you have to get like max crate on 2 or 3 GCs to be able to get it. I just knocked them all out. I'm like, okay, none of those are sitting anymore. I don't have to worry about it. It's been really nice.
No, man, it's a good feeling. I just like being able to farm them. That's going to be so big for us, and like especially people that are really invested in mods. So I'm like that too. Like I know my mods. I know which ones I want to upgrade, but it's like it takes so long sometimes to get those materials, and you forget about them. And then I'm like, oh man, I needed this mod like a week ago, and now we can go in there, use our 50s, even go to the hundreds if you wanted to, if you really wanted that mod upgraded before, say, a GAC lock or something.
Yep. I think the only other thing to mention about him, and this is, gosh, so some other people have talked about this more than I have, but sometimes I feel like CG doesn't really know how to take free wins. The
Yeah.
changes they made on the nodes, oh my gosh. Assuming the drop rates so far for me feel the same, but they putting both the 6E materials on one node, that's like doubling, assuming you're always farming those. That's doubling our mod energy. That is huge. That is one that has to be one of the most significant economy changes we've ever seen for mods. So yeah, huge change. I wish they would have like made a bigger deal about it, but I guess I won't complain.
Yeah, and honestly, it makes the 50 refreshes on mods probably one of the best values in the whole game now, especially if they're double noted like they have right now. Like that's probably one of the easiest best values in the game.
And not to be a little negative here, but I'm guessing why we're getting so much good stuff with mods right now is because similar. What what game mode dropped right after we got relics?
Was it the TB?
It was LSTB. And
Oh god.
what was LSTB gauged for? What was it? What was it future proofed for?
You need relics. Oh my gosh, where I'm gonna need 6E.
Oh yeah, and
You
not like
can't.
Relic 3 isn't enough for LSTB. Like R5, R7 minimum.
Oh man, Calvin, you hit me with the big old buzzkill now. Now I'm
No,
scared for
and like
TB.
I think we should still be happy and whatnot, but do not be surprised when the next TB is balanced for you to have plus 25s on all your teams.
And Wolf brings up a point. I've been seeing this a lot in the community too, and they're saying because mods don't matter in the land of datacrons. I really disagree with that.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
mods are super important because if you have a plus 25, I have a plus 25. If I'm going faster, I'm still going to go faster than you. So Mods is still at a premium. It's just, yeah, it is just Datacrons are Datacrons, but mods are the facilitator of Datacrons now.
Yeah, I would still say they retain the. It depends. It depends on the situation, but I would say they retain the same amount because a lot of the Datacrons only work because you
Oh
have
no,
good
no.
mods.
Wolf said as much. That's on me.
I
Don't
would still kind
misquote
of disagree with it
him.
though. Like your Datacron is only going to work if your mods are also. I would say they retain the same amount of value. Like the whole broken Tarkin thing that's going on right now. If your Tarkin speed sucks and he never gets a turn, then your Datacron means nothing, and vice versa as well. If your mods are really good, let's say you have 1,000 offense on Fennec, that's a really low number. Let's say you have a ton of offense on Fennec, but you don't have the BAM Datacron. Doesn't matter, you're not beating LV. So I would say they retain the same amount because they don't just facilitate some Datacrons, they make them happen.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think it's like peanut butter and jelly. You need the mods, you need the Datacrons to work together to kind of make those things possible.
And at the end of the day, for this PvP stuff, doesn't really matter because if I get it, so does my opponent. The winner is CG. Like they're the. It's the
Yeah.
same thing about like making broken Datacrons. They're not really breaking the game because I have an equal opportunity, if I spend or farm or whatever correctly, to have what my opponent has too. But anyways,
But I do say it's kind of good for like early whales now. So now when those early whales spend, they're not going to be stuck at a point where their mods aren't where they should be. Datacrons kind of even the playing field too if they invest into Datacrons. So it's giving people that are trying to whale that were late to the game chances to compete. So it's good on that front too because we need those new whales to really facilitate the game going in the future as well.
yep. I think a lot of this is future proofed. I think you're very right.